Hello dear fans. How the ancient Slavs lived before the adoption of Christianity. Mysterious people. Ancient Slavs. Very few documents have survived about their history. Therefore, it is generally accepted that they were barbarians who were able to begin their development only with the advent of Christianity. But if we turn to the folk epic, it will become clear that the Slavs have always been distinguished by their intelligence and ingenuity. They were never wild people. It so happened that in the official history the ancient Slavs are represented by dark, dense people, barbarians. But is it really so? Archaeological excavations provide very different information. Life of the ancient Slavs. People who lived in ancient times on the territory of Russia were not evil. They had to fight battles with other peoples in order to preserve their lands. Therefore, each boy was trained in military science. From a very early age, the guys were taught to stay in the saddle and be good at using weapons. The girls were trained in housekeeping. They had to be able to spin, weave and sew. Since the families were large, the older daughters helped their parents raise their younger brothers and sisters. Unlike Europeans, the Russian people were famous for their cleanliness. While the inhabitants of Europe were drowning in their own sewage, which flowed directly through the streets of European cities, the ancient Slavs washed in the baths. Europeans took a bath only a few times throughout their lives, while the inhabitants of ancient Russia organized a bath day every week. Water has always been an important element in the life of every Slav. In religious rites, water purification has always been used. In case of illness or the birth of children, the Slavs used the baths. Ancient people tried to put their houses on the banks of rivers and lakes. A water barrier protected them from enemy raids. At the same time, the rivers supplied man with food. The main types of fishing were fishing and hunting. In addition, people were engaged in gathering. The Slavs made stocks of mushrooms, berries, and medicinal herbs. Agriculture was widely developed. People toiled in the fields growing rye, wheat, and oats. To cultivate the land, they used tools, a plow and a hoe. To make a field, the forest had to be cut down or burned. Crafts. In addition to cultivating the land, the Slavs owned some crafts. Blacksmithing was very popular. Blacksmiths forged tools for cultivating the land and household items, made weapons and jewelry. Looms were needed to make clothes. This craft was considered the most difficult task. Since, in addition to ordinary fabrics, the Slavs loved to make fabric with various patterns. With the advent of the potter's wheel, people began to make pottery and other household items. Beekeeping was highly developed among the Slavs. Honey was an important product. It served as sugar for the preservation of berries. The honey was used to make intoxicating drinks, which were consumed only on holidays. Other beekeeping products were used for medicinal and economic purposes. Religion. The ancient Slavs were pagans. They had many gods who were associated with the forces of nature. The main deity was Purin, the god of lightning and thunder. The goddess who protected women was called Mokosh. The sun god Dazdbog, Yarilo, enjoyed a special honor, and also the Slavs glorified Veles, the patron saint of cattle, and Samargal, the god of the underworld. After the adoption of Christianity, some pagan holidays migrated to the new faith. The most common example is Shrovetide. This holiday was dedicated to the sun god. People baked pancakes that reminded them of a sun disk. Noisy festivities with bonfires and fairs, the Slavs saw off the winter and welcomed the spring. Thanks for watching.